the seashore, to the avalanches roar, from the whisper in the trees, to the quiet ocean floor, from a child's laughing to a heartfelt prayer.
I'm Morgan, and my favorite part was just, my job was in the kitchen, so my favorite part was watching everyone come back and working really hard, and they were just so tired and dirty, but they were so hungry, so they ate so much food, so it was wonderful.
Thank you, Morgan. Yeah.
I'm Angie, and my favorite part was just seeing how amazing these teens are, all the hard work they put in, and the way that the Lord's really moving in their lives.
I'm Julia, and my favorite part would definitely be our times at night, just worshiping together, and after a long, hard day, and they worked really hard, and that was really great to see. And then each night, the girls, before we'd go to bed, we'd have a little time together, and that was always really fun.
The boys don't know what that means, but we know they have fun upstairs and giggle a lot. So.
Yeah. My name is Samuel Neckel, and my favorite part was everything past about 9 a.m.
I'm Aaron, and my favorite part was probably the slip and slide and music.
I'm Maria, and I just like bonding with everyone and getting to know everyone that I wouldn't have really been able to if I didn't go.
Hi, I'm Abigail, Natasha, Diana, Yolanda, or Andy, as Jim calls me. Generation Youth Ministries calls me. My favorite part of the week would probably have to be the foot washing service, or just worship time in general. After every day we would sit around and we'd worship, and we got to hear some pretty awesome testimonies from some pretty awesome people, and just, to see the way that God is working in everyone's lives.
It's all right. You good?
My name is Noelle, and my favorite part was girl time after a long day.
Okay, my name is Jake, and my favorite part was hearing all the testimonies.
My name is Will Gray, and my favorite part was going to Cheddar's, which is the world's longest candy counter.
My name is Ethan, and my favorite part was seeing a big 1,000-gallon oil tank being pulled out of the ground.
Nice. So, what are some things maybe that you would, you guys being the veteran crew, that you maybe say to somebody who's maybe thinking about, I know Dan shared to a majority of the church down in the gym this morning about going on a mission trip and some possibilities, and our church is looking at different ideas for mission trips this next year. What would you say to somebody that's maybe thinking about, is missions for me? What would you say to that person? You guys can throw the mic at each other. Whatever.
Do it.
It's really, really fun, and it's like a spiritual renewal kind. I don't really want to use the word renewal, but it kind of is. Just to be around people. Every one of them loves Jesus, and every one of them is there for Jesus, and it's just such a wonderful boost in your spiritual energy. Totally recommend it.
Anybody else have any? That's hard to talk, but you can add. Yeah.
So the question is, what would you recommend people to come, right?
Sure.
Yes. I would recommend that people come. As Abigail said, it's just a really good time to kind of grow closer to the Lord, and get to know everybody else a lot better, right, than you did already. I mean, some of these people that all the newbies up here, I only knew slightly, or I didn't really know well. So it was really cool to get to know them and just serve and work, and I'm pretty sure my biceps were like a good centimeter bigger when I came back. Yeah. All that muscle's gone now.
Another question to throw in there. What was the hardest part of the mission trip for you in particular? What was something that sticks out to you as like, wow, that was a challenge this year?
I'm gonna talk again. Probably, I don't know. It wasn't really like it was last year. It was a lot harder work. I just have to say that it was a lot harder work, and just really to keep going, working on different things that, like, well, I feel like we could maybe be doing something different, or I don't know. That was kind of the hardest part, but at the same time, it was the best part, because it really showed what working with a cheerful spirit was. And am I making any sense here?
You are.
Everybody's like looking at me like, what is this kid talking about? He's just. I'm gonna.
Do we have anybody else that wants to share hardest part of the mission trip for you? Oh, Will Gray.
So I think the hardest part of the mission trip for me was I spent about 2 hours one day pushing a 100-pound wheelbarrow back and forth on a prayer walk, because we were putting wood chips down on the prayer walk. And yeah, it was raining and it was heavy, but it was fun, and the rain helped it a lot because it was hot out, and so yeah.
My hardest part was coming out of my comfort zone and saying what I wanted to say.
What was, I noticed in the video there was guys walking girls. Was that about dating? Can somebody add some light on that for the group? Anybody want to share about that part of the mission trip? No, you shared enough. Yes, I can do that. I'll just get an email tomorrow. If somebody new want to share maybe about that, about what that was all about? Maybe one of our gals or guys. Bryce Hartman raised his hand. Bryce, what was that all about? Like pulling teeth here, folks.
So one night we had the guys, the girls got all dressed up, and the guys would lead them to dinner and pull out their chair for them and kind of wait on them, and just kind of taught us how to treat a girl and just kind of be respectful around them. And they got all dressed up.
And then Morgan, what did the girls do at that point? Because again, it was just girls. We left. The guys went.
So we had some more girl time, which we were really good at. And Angie and Julia and I put together a love letter from God, and we gave it to each of the girls after dinner. And they went and they had a half hour to go and read that and just take it all in. And then after we sat around and talked about just how much God loves us, and just wanted to make sure that all of the girls understand just how deep His love is for us.
Awesome.
Oh, that's right. They did respond to their letters to God. I forgot.
Do you have anything to add, Abigail, about the experience?
It was just awesome. She pretty much wrapped it up really nicely. We got to have a date with God. It was like a daddy-daughter date, only He's God. And yeah, it was just really amazing, because it was what they did with it made it extremely personal. And a lot of times when you're reading through the Bible, it's personal, but it's not as personal as when you're sitting down and actually saying, this is my letter. It gave me a new mindset for when I'm reading those verses.
Yeah. And the boys ate bonbons and held each other's hands and cried. When the girls said that. But my favorite comment that came out of that, it'll be an anonymous comment that came from one of the girls, was that I've got the hottest boyfriend ever. It's Jesus. So that was my favorite comment that came from them. Is there anything else that you guys feel like maybe something that God revealed to you about yourself or Himself or the world around you on the mission trip that really stuck with you? Something maybe from His Word, or just that God really spoke to you that was a nugget that you're going to keep with you for a while? Sounds good.
I have a Bible verse this time.
Sounds good. Go ahead, Samuel. Go ahead, man. Well,
yes.
Am I talking to microphones? I really enjoyed just serving with a grateful heart. Ephesians 6:7 says, "Serve wholeheartedly as if you are serving the Lord, not people, because you know that the Lord will reward each one for whatever good they do, whether they are a slave or free." Kind of felt like a slave sometimes, but he's a slave driver. Dig! Dig! What are you doing standing there? Dig!
Once or twice. That's another email I'll get in the morning. Staff meeting's going to be interesting this week.
You know I'm
If
kidding.
I share too much.
No, you're good. You're good.
One of the things that I noticed throughout the whole week was when you finish a project, no matter what it is, whether it's washing windows or digging up oil drums or whatever it was that we did, there was always a sense of pride and accomplishment in that thing that we've done. And we always saw how beautiful it was, and we knew why we did it. And while I was thinking about that, I'm thinking that's how God feels about us. And, though the oil drum is gone and there's just a blank space, and that blank space might be like, well, I'm not like the grassy area over there. We did it for a reason so that no one will sink. And, everything that was done for a reason. It all has a purpose, and we see how beautiful it is because we did it. And that's how God views us.
Awesome. That's great. Anybody else have anything to share that maybe God taught you? Morgan's up there.
So when we were writing the love letter from God, one of the verses just really stood out to me that was in a different translation that I hadn't really looked into. And it says, "I will make my home in your heart as you trust in me. Your roots will grow down into my love and keep you strong. And you will have the power to understand how wide, how long, how high, and how deep my love is." And that's from Ephesians 3:17 and 18. And just the picture of that. And I think that was the day that everyone was doing the garden. And so just picturing like God being inside of you and having his roots grow down into your heart and just them being strong in him was just an awesome picture for that particular day.
Awesome. Anybody else have a word they want to share? Maybe something that God revealed to you on the trip? Any questions that we can field from you guys that maybe something we didn't communicate clearly, or that you may have about missions in general, or throwing that out to you guys? Wonderful. One of the things that if I can't see your hand, just wait. One of the things that really stuck out to me this year was just being able to see the growth in our teenagers. Now, Morgan, this is your third mission trip. Julia was a teenager with us for how many mission trips? Two, and then now she's leading one. And then, you guys have been on mission trips, but not with our youth yet. But Morgan and I were talking just about the growth that we've seen in the teenagers as they've grown up through the youth ministry. And one of the things about missions that I love is it's this safe place for kids to get close to God without all the distractions. And I've always seen so much growth in the kids while we're on mission trips. And as a pastor, one of the things that you hate seeing and that inevitably happens once in a while is you see people that get tangled up in the world and get drawn away from Christ, at least for a season. And this year it seemed like so many of the kids just drew close to God and just have come back really excited about who Jesus is and what he's doing in their life and how active that he is. And Paul wrote the church in Corinth, and he words it this way, and I'm going to try to break this down a little bit. But it's 2 Corinthians 11:2, "For I am jealous over you with a godly jealousy, because I have promised you in marriage to one husband to present you pure to Christ." And you get this picture of Paul birthing this church and preparing this church to meet Jesus someday at the end. And he says, "I'm jealous for you because they're being drawn away from Christ." And then he states that I have promised you in marriage. So Paul, being sort of the father figure, he's promised this church to Jesus, and he wants this church to keep their covenant with Jesus so strong that they're pure when they meet Jesus. And I think that's the heart of all of our youth leaders along the same line, is that our kids would remain pure in every area of life and remain committed to Christ in every area, and to see that as Morgan and I have led the youth for so long now, and seeing that our kids are doing that, and that your kids are really growing in Christ, and that they are remaining pure, and that when we do stand before God, or they do stand before God, God's going to just rejoice over the fact that they kept strong in Him and they kept focused on Him. And I think this year was just a time for me to celebrate, and our leaders to really celebrate. I mean, I think we left the first worship service and we're like, wow, that was awesome. I wasn't expecting that till the end of the week. And our kids were just every night just really letting God really lead our worship time and our discussion times. And it was really, really a powerful trip. I'd say out of all the mission trips I've ever led, this one, hands down, was the best mission trip I've ever gone on. And I've been on quite a few, so that was a really big deal. So now we get to celebrate. We got back, and Faith, who you all heard from before, last Sunday she came forward, and can I share a little bit what you talked about? She came forward after Pastor Jim gave the invitation. She came forward and she said, I prayed this morning that God would give me strength to come forward and just tell somebody that I'm in love with Jesus now. And so Faith gave her life to the Lord last Sunday, and we've got a couple other people that are also going to be, Will Gray is going to be one of them, and Natalie, I think? Nicole. Ooh, and then Nicole is also going to be baptized down by the lake, so if you guys want to join us down there, we just need a few minutes to get changed, and then we're going to be down by the lake and just celebrate people making that next step of faith in Christ by letting us all know that they want to follow Jesus before they let the world know they want to follow Jesus. So I'm going to close in prayer, and then if you all want to head down to the lake, and we'll all be down there soon. So